Okay, and we're back. Time to get into the meatier part of the week, the NFL segment. And before I hand this off to Caesar, I'm just going to bring up one last thing from my Denver trip. I didn't mention because I was waiting for football time. As you guys know, I did go find myself a Vikings bar in Denver, and it's apparently a pretty
Yeah.
serious business out there. There's like three or four of them.
Hmm.
The one I went to, it told me online to get there early. So they're what our noon kickoffs here, obviously 11 a.m. there. I got in line at about 9:40. I was probably the 20th person in line.
Damn.
Nice.
And then for this week for the London game, I'm pretty sure those guys opened at like 7 a.m. their time. Rough.
Oh.
But that was super fun. I've never been in the vicinity of that many Vikings fans at once in my life. So that was really cool. I just wanted to mention that is a really cool time. That's a tough thing you don't think about, but it was cool to be in a town that actually had, if I look around here, there's probably some Viking bar in DFW, but
Let's see. Let's try a Googler.
I've never heard of one. There wasn't one in Louisville. The only one in Louisville was, I think, a Bills bar.
So the Bills have a couple of strongholds here, I think.
I know there's a Packers. I've heard of a few Packers ones, but yeah, I've never heard of a Vikings one around here.
Not TNT Sports page in North Dallas. They're a rowdy bunch. 2 years ago, read it. Yeah, I don't know. I'm glad for you. I've heard a lot of arguments. I've seen people argue like if they want to be new fans to football, they want to like bandwagon certain teams, how you want to do things. Rooting interest is always an interesting gamble, no matter what you do. I think that video is nice for you to have that. I miss that version of Cowboys lore, but honestly, the chaos of the Cowboys fandom has always been my favorite thing anyway. And it's awesome, but like at the same time, it's a little more on the rowdy, dangerous side these days. Especially if you're in the shit with the people real tanked off the sauce, so then you got a team that's just destined to fucking piss them off.
Got a standing room only ticket. I gotta get fucking Black Friday every Sunday just to hopefully see part of the game.
But in a way, it's kind of true of who we are. But it doesn't surprise me Denver's like that. Transient cities can be like that. I think it's why DFW
Yeah,
sees.
it's interesting. And I would think the Broncos would be big enough, but I guess there's enough transplants there that start their own businesses to do their own thing.
DFW is the best case to prove that theory, right? Because this place has so many pockets of non-Cowboy fans that are pretty decent and probably do things like similar.
I should
with
probably
all teams: Steelers, Raiders,
Packers.
Say I got way too drunk. Don't remember the walk home at all. And I forgot to buy one of their Viking T-shirts, so I might have to go online and grab one of those. But
I just now that you talked about a Vikings bar, I was like, I wonder if there's an Eagles bar somewhere in DFW. I found one.
Yeah,
I found one in Plano.
Plano. That's okay. That's believable. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's in transient cities like DFW, like Denver, especially newer cities. It's not that crazy a phenomenon, honestly. Even if you are in a place that has the historically powerful Cowboys, why would anybody root for the Cowboys? It doesn't matter. Transplants are going to stay the tradition.
To me in DFW, once I start getting out to smaller cities and I see other teams, I'm like, what's going on here? Like, how did you become a Lions fan out in like Waxahachie?
But Michigan's rural. Rural people move to rural parts when they go. Honestly, Green Bay is basically true blue collar America's football team. So you should expect to see, especially since Favre basically won the South for Green Bay somehow.
And at least the myth of the fan ownership. But anyways, I just want to mention that was pretty fun. I liked seeing Vikings people singing Viking songs. There was someone with a drum, obviously, that was louder than the one that we'll talk about later. That happened this week in London. But anyways, I'll go ahead and just pass this thing on to Caesar so we can really tackle week 5 of the NFL.
Thank you. Now, gentlemen, before we really go into the games that were, the highlights, the lowlights of the season, and even discussing your team's wins, we have to talk about some quick news and notes. And the big story of the week so far can only be described via one very specific conspiracy. And let's watch this clip real quick.
If you could fire your coach, would you do it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you put in a good word with him elsewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Robert Saleh is fired, fellas. And there's multiple culprits that could be responsible for this.
It's a whodunit.
It is a whodunit.
Get Scooby-Doo.
Robert Saleh himself.
No, exactly. That's why it's such a beautiful whodunit. Is it a stupid coach? Is it a corrupt owner?
I'm not saying
is
I
it
think
a
firing
pouty
him was
star
the right
player?
move, but I'm saying he didn't exactly give him any reasons to not do it.
No,
we need Scooby in the gang to investigate this one, fellas. Who's
now
behind the mask?
let me present some points for all culprits, right? We can look at Robert Saleh's record. He's 20-32, I believe, or 20-36. One of those two numbers.
He's
you can
bad.
Fact check me. So bad, right?
Also kind
Bad
of has
record.
weird bedside manner. And I'm just going to leave it at that because it's a stupid thing and it's not like something you can calculate. But like there was just multiple instances of weird body language, weird like chemistry with his teammates. Didn't feel always like they were like, or his players.
Yeah.
Didn't really feel like there was buy-in. Didn't not just the Aaron Rodgers shove. There's been a lot of this.
Now, there could be some reasons for that, Beth. I'm going to present some of these things that could have led to all of this, right? Because I think it's more than just, the team didn't buy in. I think there's factors placed on him that eventually led to no buy-in happening. And that could be from Joe Douglas' standpoint. But let's talk about this, gentlemen. His quarterbacks. He was saddled with Zach Wilson. He didn't draft Zach Wilson. That was not his guy. Tim Boyle. You had 6 games of Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers does not look very good. He did not hire Nathaniel Hackett. And one of the biggest issues with this Jets team under the Robert Saleh era, the offense has been bad. It's been bad. And the defense has been really good, and there's that creates a tension, a rift between both sides of the ball. That defense has no hope once they leave the field that there'll be any support from the offense, and evidence proves they're right to feel that way. So you could say, Robert Saleh just wasn't the guy. It could be that he could just be a really good coordinator, bad head coach. Now let's look.
And why couldn't he have been fired in the offseason as to be the Dallas Cowboys defensive coordinator?
That's another question. The Eagles.
Well, what I'm going to say, the issue with the good coordinator trope with this is that it's not his side of the ball that's a problem, which is usually what happens when you say this guy's a good coordinator but can't be a head coach, because then his side of the ball is struggling all of a sudden. But he's doing what he can do with what he has. Like, what is he supposed to do? Exactly. And if they win this week, aren't they right back into first in the division?
They're in the thick of it, but I don't think they're. I
think if they win this week and
maybe
one other team loses, they're right back to first.
The Bills are probably going to sleepwalk into that division win, and maybe
still,
I'm
just saying it's not like they're 0-5.
Yeah.
No,
it's a winnable.
But I'm glad you brought that up because I will touch on that the record right now, their current record right now.
You were right about 20-36.
Word, nailed it. All right. Now, not a great record, but there's been coaches who've been given far longer leashes with worse records, but they don't have the current owner, who I'll talk about in a second. But let's talk about the player who we just saw in that clip. Now, Aaron Rodgers takes umbrage. He resents the notion that he has enough power to fire his head coach. Now, there's a lot of damning evidence to suggest otherwise. Now, this could all be circumstantial, right? So Monday night, Aaron Rodgers allegedly has a meeting with Woody Johnson, right? Now, they say that meeting had nothing to do with Robert Saleh. Press X to doubt on that one. Next thing, another clear bit of evidence here that shows that Aaron Rodgers has a lot more power than he wants you to believe he does. Nathaniel Hackett is the offensive coordinator. Nathaniel Hackett has not once in his entire career in the NFL been regarded as a brilliant offensive mind, and the numbers suggest that people are right to feel that way about him. All right, his greatest success as a coordinator was under the Green Bay Packers tenure that he was in there briefly, Aaron Rodgers was his quarterback, and that was Aaron Rodgers at the peak of his powers. All right.
Who honestly, even if people hate Aaron Rodgers for a million good reasons, the peak of Aaron Rodgers is absolutely going to be compared with the best of all time. Even if Brady's the undisputed GOAT, there will be a large group of people who will always kind of hover around the prime of Aaron Rodgers.
He was a terrorist. It was awful.
You don't have to tell me. In fact, I feel like it's my obligation as a Cowboys fan to do this and to state that.
You guys complain about a game here and there. It's twice a year. Sometimes three times.
But those were games that mattered, Patrick.
This dude pulled some fucking magic out on us, and a lot like the shit that he did the Dak's rookie year. That was really just goddamn you, Aaron Rodgers. We keep moving on.
Forever the funniest meme of the guy sitting in the crowd or the Packer fan in the stands.
I can't be mad at him. I can't be mad.
All time great.
I'm just impressed that there's actually nothing but Cowboy fans around him.
Yeah, that was then. It was over a decade ago.
Now, more evidence to suggest that he has power that can force a QB or their head coach to get fired. Right. So at this meeting, or rather at this meeting that they had Monday night, Robert Saleh, the following morning, Tuesday morning, according to reports, was planning on either firing or demoting Nathaniel Hackett from play calling duties. And lo and behold, a few minutes later, he gets the call from the front office. He's out. He's done. Well, if you're telling me the head coach isn't going to run this by the star quarterback, who that's his boy, you want to keep your boy safe, right? So what does he do? He probably
keep him safe, Papa.
Picks up that big red phone, calls Papa Woody Johnson, and is like, "Hey, it's either him or me." And Woody Johnson's like, "Oh, I can't. I gave up too much for Aaron Rodgers. I'm not gonna stop now." That's one theory, right? Another thing that shows that Aaron Rodgers has a lot of power: that wide receiver room. That wide receiver room was a lot better before Aaron Rodgers got there. Aaron Rodgers gets there. He insists on Allen Lazard. He insists on other guys that he has familiarity with from his time in Green Bay. Hell, they even bring in Tim Boyle to be his backup because that's his buddy, Tim Boyle, who's not a real NFL quarterback by any measure. Whether you want to put a third stringer, practice squatter, that guy is absolute certified garbage. But he's on that Jets roster because Aaron Rodgers is his friend. All right. Now,
compelling argument.
That is very compelling. Now, let's look at the most plausible cause, gentlemen. And this is probably the real reason that Robert Saleh got fired. Woody Johnson is just an arrogant billionaire who got embarrassed courtesy of the Minnesota Vikings in London, where Woody Johnson was an ambassador for the United States. So what happens? This fragile ego billionaire goes to the suite, watches his team that he owns get embarrassed.
He's like, "Hey, look at this, blokes. Look at my football team." Huh?
And then all of those guys with British accents say, "Oh, are you fucking mad? This is your team.
It's bloody.
Right.
You got to swallow your tongue.
Got to swallow your tongue, mate." But anyway, so he sees this. He's embarrassed. He's like, "Fuck this! You're not gonna make these guys make fun of me in this situation. Fuck you, Robert Saleh." And then what does he do? Kicks that fucker right out. And it doesn't help that Robert Saleh had a Lebanon flag. If you want to believe the Woody Johnson rumors that he is kind of not open to other ethnicities, which there's some circumstantial evidence to prove
Trump's ambassador to the UK might not have been a fan.
Yeah, those are all factors, but it is a little interesting. I mean, he certainly knew that he was a Muslim American man when he hired him, which was a big deal.
He didn't hire him, apparently. It was his brother.
Yeah, that's also like saying Dan Snyder's. That's also like saying Dan Snyder's wife hired people and fired people and ran the Washington football team.
Yeah, Chris Johnson. He was
CJ2K?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, Woody's brother was named the owner while Woody was in the UK.
Yeah,
I thought you were going to say named after CJ2K.
I don't think
after his great season. He was like, we're actually changing your name because
I don't think he was just giving carte blanche unilateral decisions to hire head coaches or anything, but maybe.
Okay. Yeah, no, I hear you on that. But yeah, I think that there's a lot of factors here. I think that Salah's next job might answer the Lebanon question or not, in my opinion, right? I mean, what if he gets? What if this snowballs into a Kaepernick situation? Then I think we'll have our answer.
Yeah, I honestly think if anything, he's going to find himself back in San Francisco, where it's clear Kyle Shanahan misses that man dearly. But we'll see what happens with that. I love a good old NFL conspiracy, and this is one of them. The truth is somewhere in the middle of all three situations, gentlemen. But let's continue down our news and notes. This is going to be more topical and less funny. And it is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, along with other teams in the Central Florida area, are relocating due to Hurricane Milton, which, as of this recording, and I just got an alert from the Weather Channel app, it has been downgraded to a Category 3. Still strong, but not as bad as the Category 5.
When did you get this update? Because I'm looking at a live one that says it might be back at 4.
This was like maybe during the basketball segment.
So it looks like we still have about 15 hours before it hits. So
okay,
still a little bit out.
Still a little bit out. So somewhere between the 3, 4. It's still going to be a very life-changing storm.
Made landfall about 15 minutes ago.
All right, there we go. So we'll see what happens with that one.
Yeah, it's
to everybody in that area. But yeah, so the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are relocating everything for their game against New Orleans into New Orleans. So we'll see what happens with their situation going forward. There's been a lot of damage, obviously, throughout the Southeast because of hurricane season. And so we'll see what happens. Now, next on the news and notes section, some good news for the Kansas City Chiefs. Rashee Rice does not have a completely blown out knee like that graphic injury or replay. Mostly blown out knee. He's done for the season. However, it is just an LCL. His ACL, MCL, and meniscus are still intact. No structural damage or tears to those parts of his knee, which is really surprising when you look at that gross replay of what happened to him during that Patrick Mahomes interception. So good news for him, for the Chiefs in the long term, not this season though. And yeah, that's all the news, relevant news that I had for this segment. So we can go ahead and move on to the.
Oh, that's going way more north than the one I was looking at. Yeah, I think.
Oh yeah.
YouTube is an interesting cesspool of options. I'm not sure there's any sort of real
NBC 10 Boston.
It's probably honestly one of the better calls at this point.
Here's a graphic I was looking at earlier where they're showing it's a 4 and then it's going to break into like a 3 before it hits and then smaller down to a 1 as it goes across.
I mean, that's positive.
Hopefully that's all how that works. Sorry.
For what it fucking could have, what it was looking like. Oh yeah, that's
like a Katrina Rita situation type deal.
They were looking at a historical storm at the peak of this thing, so it's lucky that it died at some point or slowed down a fuck ton.
Shit, they just got a historical storm last week. Well, not Florida, but the Carolinas, man.
Well, Florida did a lot of Florida did, but then Carolina got flooding because of rainwater on top of it's because of how much comes out of it. Like we get water at hurricanes, especially hit Houston. Dallas gets affected. We get a bunch of water. It's just not the end of the world. It's flat. Sometimes it floods a little bit here. They completely fucking flooded. They're at the base of the Appalachian Mountains.
Yeah, and there's whole towns don't exist anymore. It's wild.
Yeah.
But let's no easy way to move on from that. But let's continue on. We're gonna look into Past the Rocks football picks from this past week. Patrick, go ahead and put up your bragging rights right here.
Oh, look at this
on the
first.
screen. Look at this. Well, that's what I meant. Look at that.
This isn't great.
This is a terrible week for Bethke and myself. We both come away with only 5 correct picks. Now, on the screen, you see our unique picks. Ones where we didn't all unanimously agree upon. So, I was bailed out on some instances there. So was Becky. Now let's look at our main record here. Patrick, you escaped the week 8-8, 500. That gets you 45-33. You have a
8-6.
game.
8-6. There's only 14 games with the 2 buys.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, the recording part is right in front of me.
Yeah.
But anyway, you're right. 8-6. I go 5-9 as well as Becky. Becky, you have a lot of room to make up with that 35-43 record. I'm 41-37 in second place, trailing.
Hey, that's shoot.
I did some of
that's
that
a
this
good
week.
percentage. That's a good percentage if you're shooting threes.
A couple of them paid off. I got what was it? I gotta pull this back up. The Atlanta one, and the Denver one, and the Dallas.
I was the
one.
only Trevor Lawrence believer.
Wait. Is this incorrect?
No, you're right.
What?
Oh, I think when Bethke did his full season picks, he picked that the Cowboys would win this game, but I guess he didn't pick them in the.
He did not.
Yeah, I haven't referenced the thing I made the first time because that one is real. That one I believe in.
You actually are you're leading in that, by the way. You've done the best at predicting your week by week for your team.
I understand stupidity so well. The fact is I don't follow the NFL basically at all outside of just on Sundays consuming. And then I just forget about it, and then it just rolls up. I'll catch Thursdays. A lot of times I'm working on vibes. And shooters shoot, and I think right now the shooting percentage can get higher with the way vibes go. I can feel vibes.
You've gotten 4 out of 5 on your preseason prediction for what Cowboys would win or lose.
Yeah.
Me and Caesar not looking so hot on that front.
Well, you just had no faith, and your team just decided to be the best team in football all of a sudden.
I mean, I predicted a 9-8 record. I just thought it'd be a little bit more spread out.
Yeah, it could still happen, right?
Yeah,
but
very easily could.
It doesn't look that way. It looks like the Vikings are legit, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But yeah, my team is just proving to still be every bit the train wreck that they were at the end of last season. But anyway, before we talk about our teams, I have here that up next is going to be everybody's new favorite segment. It's going to be the highlights and lowlights of the week. Patrick, do you have something for this, or should I just keep going?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I played with it. I played with it today. We're not quite there yet.
All right.
Low.
That's it.
Let's go ahead and get shit started, gentlemen, with our highlights of the week. The first highlight is Jon Gruden.
That's what has me feeling really nicey. Like watching Jared Goff go 18 for 18, 292 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Got me feeling nicey.
I couldn't do that pregame warm-up.
Ho!
Is he on mushrooms?
I think he's on.
Look at his eyes.
No, I know his eyes. There's no way that's true.
No, we need to see it again. Is what he's saying.
Pure cocaine.
That's what has me feeling really nicey. Like watching Jared Goff go 18 for 18, 292 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Got me feeling nicey.
I couldn't do that pregame warm-up.
Ho!
Yeah, that's definitely more amphetamine upper.
Yeah, man. That guy is on the purest of pure stuff.
Oh my God. I just am so happy that I have so many people to thank, and I don't know who you are, but thank you. Thank you so much for helping that content get into this.
Imagine the 23-year-old who has to do that for him.
Greatest gig great for you. I don't care if you're a Nepo baby. I'm even canceling the Nepo baby policy for you.
You're terrified every moment of every day.
Well, listen. You're not in the room with him.
You're making hits. You know what I mean? This is the pressure that makes diamonds.
That makes diamonds, baby. All right. Now,
oh, fuck.
That is peak Jon Gruden performance. I don't think there's really anything that he could improve upon in that one. So we'll see what he does as the season progresses. And he will maybe be a constant fixture in the highlight of the week, depending what the next video looks like. But for now, let's look at actual NFL teams, shall we? And we're going to lead things off with the Denver Broncos. Here we go. If you don't know what this is one of 2 100-yard plays that happened, courtesy of Gardner Minshew, throwing right to Patrick Surtain.
Pause the game. Pause the game. Exit out.
I can't pause this.
No, we're restarting the game immediately. No, not. As soon as that happens, and Madden, as soon as that happens, I'm pausing it. I'm turning it off. That didn't happen. I'm not letting that stand on the record book. Not that one. I'll throw a bad pick on reading a bad coverage. I'll let that bullshit happen where it bounces off the hands. If I throw that pick, I'm taking it off the record books. I don't want that one on the record books.
Well, yeah. Now this could be a low light for Jordan Minshew, but this is definitely a highlight for Patrick Surtain with 101-yard interception touchdown return.
That beautiful uniform. Those look so good.
That was 1,000% quarterback doing too much.
That's a Madden. That's a Madden play. That's
Madden pick.
Yeah.
That's a Madden pick. That is the Madden pick. That is we've all done that way too often.
Yeah, and it was only a matter of time before Gardner Minshew came back down to earth and did what Gardner Minshew does, and it showed why he's a journeyman quarterback. Now, let's move on to the next highlight of the week. The Dallas Cowboys and CeeDee Lamb. Let's look at this throw from Dakota right over here.
This is
finds his man on the sideline, tiptoe ballerina in between two defenders. My goodness, CeeDee Lamb, that was a great catch.
Overall, things went well that night. Those two still, just it's
figuring it out.
There's a lot going on in that world for those two, and they just got paid, and this is why you get paid money to be that good.
I think it's a little Occam's razor, simplest answer. They just need another weapon.
Well, and honestly, they really explored this. This was a good week, and we'll get into it for them to actually play with that. They didn't even actually target Flournoy at all, which I was disappointed by. But it's a difficult Steelers defense, so that's fine. But ultimately, it was a good opportunity for Dak in this game, and that was a great throw. That was the gem of his day, even though he still had a maybe more impactful moment in the game.
For sure. Now, let's move on to what I think is the throw of the week, courtesy of Jordan Love to Jordan Reed. Look at this, gentleman. He just chucks this fucker down the side.
When did the pack?
Oh my God! Look at that.
Was this an early one, or was this in the 20s like Rodgers?
Oh, he was in the 20s, just like
Rodgers. I feel like this is another Mahomes case, right? Where like these football people just saw him be mediocre at a shitty school, and were like, "That's not a good quarterback." They didn't at all think about the Madden creative player characteristics of these humans.
So I think what you just said about the creative player characteristics, that applied to his last year at Nevada, but the year before, Jordan Love genuinely did catch the eyes of scouts. The reason he didn't go higher was because he did have a worse season, and so he was drafted based on those characteristics.
Yeah, he went 126.
They overthought it. That's crazy, man. That dude's got stupid talent.
Yeah,
I don't even think he's that good of a quarterback yet. He's just stupid talented.
Yeah, and this catch was just ridiculous as well. It's just the tiniest of windows right there. But now, gentlemen, here's another throw. And it's less about the throw itself, like the result, but it's just the process that makes this such a wonderful highlight, courtesy of Lamar Jackson. Look at this shit. He drops the ball.
Oh, I feel so bad for the dude here.
This defender right here is like twice, gets stiff arms.
The first one was meh. The second one was just so embarrassing.
That was so good.
Hilarious.
He's good for, and I think he had a better play, but I couldn't, in good conscience, put it in the highlight reel because it didn't lead to anything. It was just the most beautiful throwaway you've ever seen, where he makes two guys miss.
Hey, sometimes that's what it takes. That's superstardom. That's Tom Brady right there. The master of everything.
Tom Brady could never do that. But hey, you know what he could do?
That was a nimble little bastard when he needed to be.
Yeah, not that nimble though.
You know the devil was helping Tom Brady. I don't know why you would allow...
Listen. We're talking about him being nimble compared to Lamar Jackson. But
no, I understand the athletic differences, but it's like the Tim Duncan theory of like this person just had some sort of like superhuman genetic trait that allowed them to do what they needed to at any moment.
Works.
Yeah, he sold his the fate of his marriages to the devil for success, and it paid off for him. But you know what? There's another guy, speaking of being nimble, this is surprisingly nimble. And we saw this on Monday Night Football. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, well, let me just show you, fellas. We're going to call this Meals on Wheels, baby. The fat man with the interception. Oh my God, he takes it out of the end zone and he's breaking tackles, bumping and stumbling his way to the 40-yard line. That was beautiful.
Don't forget to bury you're burying the lead there.
No, that's the lead.
This came after they did a whole piece on his brother being a dancer for Taylor Swift. Literally, they finished a package. They finished the package, and that play happens. If you're watching live, that was awesome. The sequence of events. It was crazy.
Well, now we know
that'll get all the conspiracy guys going.
Yeah, the conspiracy people were. Oh man, they cracked knuckles. They went and poured a fucking pot of coffee up. It was a long night for those folks.
There were 72 dolphins popping the champagne.
Get the Swifties out of football, please. But anyway, that was one of my favorite highlights of the week. I love when a fat man intercepts the ball and runs with that thing. But
so sick if he got that touchdown. And a little bit better blocking, and maybe it could have.
Maybe it could have. He hit it at 16 miles an hour. That's impressive.
That was a long way to go, though. That's the problem with the big boy touchdowns.
But he's almost to the point where everyone's behind him, so his own team could theoretically.
Yeah, but then you get into stumbling. You get into a lot of
those deep tackles, man, they're not used to running that much. They're not
used
to
running to fall down. Just get up and keep going.
Now, here's the thing, gentlemen. He actually apparently played running back in high school, so he had the moves.
Yeah, that's not surprising, bro. That's such a like D1 athlete thing to do.
Who's the random cowboy like linebacker or safety that was also the emergency kicker?
Byron Jones. Damn, what's Softy up to?
Who knows?
I miss Byron Jones. That was
a good
problem.
Most of these guys, like until they got to college, they would just do everything. So,
yeah.
Now, gentlemen. You said a very key word. You know, he had a long distance to go before getting to a touchdown. But let's see what it looks like when someone goes the distance for a touchdown. Right here, right now, the New York Giants embarrassing themselves in this play. The Seahawks defender just takes this 100 yards the opposite way. Look at that. Nobody behind him. For many yards, he's galloping, he is skipping into the end zone. So why, Seattle, did you lose the game and screw me over on that one? Why did you do that?
The
sons of bitches, you did it again. You lost to the Giants again. I'm sick of it. But
Dayballs lives to fight another day.
That play did earn them a spot on the highlight reel.
At least on that one, we all picked Seattle. So.
Yeah, and gone. Next time I see Daniel Jones versus Geno Smith, I'll know to take the team that.
You think both of them will play long enough to play against each other again?
Oh, absolutely. Geno's playing out of his mind.
I mean, there's a world where I think Daniel Jones has got a great, honestly, maybe even decade career as a backup.
Oh yes. If you kept saying starter, I was gonna just.
But that's the thing, because he'll teeter as like a Gardner Minshew starter, right?
Cleveland's going to need someone super cheap to start for a few years, so...
Facts.
No, yeah. Now, let's go ahead, gentlemen, and finish off the highlights with one more team. They played on Sunday Night Football. This one was the biggest cock tease of the night, and you'll see what I mean. Look at this right here. Oh, this fumble, this forced fumble was a thing of beauty. Yeah, because look at this.
This is the MVP right here. This is the MVP.
That's
the most valuable player right there.
What am I missing? I didn't see this whole game. I fell asleep.
Okay,
Dakota Prescott saves America's team once again.
No, this is not what we're talking about. Okay, Kim, I need you to stop with your propaganda for a few minutes while I explain this situation to Patrick. So, Cowboys driving down for the game-winning drive, right? Mm-hmm. They try to punch it in. It's not working. They go to I believe that was Rico Dowdle on the play. Steelers have a goal line linebacker. I forget his name, but he literally just comes in for those situations. As you can see, he takes off from pretty far back, knocks the ball out with his helmet. It's just perfect placement. And then where the ball is, and this, if I had the full clip, I could have probably showed you where there's a defender who's looking right at the ball. He's not exactly equal distance from the ball from Dakota Prescott, but if he just maybe anticipates it a little bit more, there's a real battle for the ball. But Dak, smart veteran play, gets on there before anybody else can, and then they led to the game-winning touchdown pass. I believe 2 plays later. I believe that was a second down run. Becky, you'll have to remind me of that if I'm.
Yeah,
correct.
I think there was a fuck up. I think third was an incompletion, and then fourth is the
Yes. So that was the second down play right there. Now, those are our highlights, gentlemen. Do we want to vote upon which one was the highlight of the week?
Well, I mean, look, Dakota Prescott saving America's team's ass by recovering that fumble was the highlight of the week.
The recovery wasn't shown on the highlight for a reason, Bethke.
Well, your propaganda doesn't negate the truth and the reality of America's great patriot, Dak Prescott.
I am tossing your vote out. All right, Patrick, what is your vote?
Man, I don't know. I'll take the Surtain pick 6.
All right, and I'm voting for the Fat Man. Pick,
oh yeah, actually no, yeah,
one.
that's the highlight. Duh, I forgot about that one. That one wins.
There you go. Congratulations, Saints defensive tackle, whose name escapes me. You are past the rock highlight of the week. But now, let's get in to the lowlights. And the first lowlight I want to present to you guys is, if I can find it, I don't know where the hell this video went. Oh, it's right here. It's the referees. It's the referees forgetting what sport is currently playing.
Oh yeah.
The Bills were looking for a late hit.
After crew discussion, the runner was out of bounds before he fumbled the basketball. The ball be placed at the 39-yard line.
That is a weird one.
Fumbling the basketball.
That is the appropriate propaganda that America needs for its brighter future tomorrow.
Yeah,
this guy is clearly a hoops head.
Yeah, like in what world? When was the last time he discussed basketball?
Gentlemen,
were they like while New York's looking over the tape, they're just talking about the NBA, like who they got tonight in the preseason.
Gentlemen,
parlays.
Ball is life.
Ball is life. But now, gentlemen, I have a low light to show you. The sound is on this one. Actually, the sound is on all the low lights. So let's just hear what the commentary had to say. I want to lead things off with the Cincinnati Bungles.
Nope, he missed it. Wide left. And the Ravens run.
That sucks. I always feel bad. That goes on the kicker when that had nothing to do with the kicker.
No, yeah. And I got access to the hold,
it was a terrible hold.
Terrible hold.
The ball was almost perpendicular, and he still almost made it.
I wouldn't call that almost made it. That was wide as hell.
Dude,
the ball did a good job of launching.
Yeah,
but
that's what I mean.
As soon as the ball was just like the wind caught the wompiness.
With the angle he kicked it, the fact that he got it in the air at all is a huge success.
Yeah.
You know what that reminded
me of? He
kicked
the fucking shit out of that bad hole.
It sucks. And that just goes on his record. End of the year, they're like, oh, you missed this many kicks. And the punter's like, oh, nobody remembers that I dropped that one.
And the backup quarterback secretly
that's a punter.
No, I know, but that's what I'm thinking is like these modern backups. Actually, it's so far removed that these modern backups don't even realize how good their life is.
They don't know about the Romo life.
They don't understand about Romo. They don't get it.
Was he the backup when he did that, or was he third string?
So I think that was the problem. Is Romo took over that year as starter.
He went from third string,
and that's why they still used him as that because that's who he has been practicing with.
Yep.
Anyways,
and then it all went to shit. But now, on this one, what I wanted to tell you guys what that reminded me of was a scene from Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. The first one,
the butthole, where he comes out of a rhino butthole.
No, that's the second one.
Oh,
the first one was about the damn. Now that I think about it, this plot is really problematic for today's current climate. But a former Miami Dolphins kicker,
kicker.
Yeah, the kicker transitions, but still has his package down there, and screams out, "Laces in!" They absolutely lose their shit because Dan Marino did not hold the ball properly in this fictional story. Anyway, we'll move on. to another low light, and this one courtesy of the 49ers. Here we go. This one actually does not have sound. Look at this shit, man. What are you doing there? What are you doing there? You know pressure is coming down the barrel.
That's what they're doing.
You're losing. You lose me a game in our standings.
That's not looking pretty good.
It's not looking pretty at all. I forgot that one didn't have sound. Sorry about that one, fellas.
That's another one. That's another one where we all three picked the same one, so it's not like you lost ground with it.
No,
but at the
it's
still
like it's your overall number. Yeah,
it's like, what the fuck is Arizona? Is really why we're all upset.
They do. This has been Kyler Murray's thing, even with Cliff. They look good to start the year, and
they don't look good right now. They don't look good at all.
50 points. What are you talking about?
When did they put up 50 points? One time
last week.
It wasn't. No, it wasn't last week. Because last week
the week before.
Yeah, they're 2-3. They have not looked very good at all.
42 points. Oh, never mind. They put up 41 against the Rams in like the first week.
Yeah, and the second week.
Yeah.
So they have not been looking too great because they also let up.
Yeah, they got kicked around by Washington. I think I confused the scores on that. I had them scoring 40 twice, not getting 40 scored on them.
No. Now, gentlemen, aside from that, there's another low light, and this one comes from a guy who we were just talking about not too long ago about having the throw of the week. He might also have one of the worst throws of the week, but you know what? It makes sense when he rolls up to the game wearing a Brett Favre jersey.
But look at the speed right there by Young, Jim. This is a formidable front, which is why I don't think you throw the ball a ton against this front. That is
honestly though,
can't do that.
Counterpoint. Still kind of crazy how much fucking spin and torque he got off on that ball.
Oh sure, but
he had to play baseball because that's a submarine style pitch right there. The way he just was like.
The effort it took for him to get that ball 4 yards downfield shows you that it was a bad decision.
It's like you should have just taken the safety at that point. But although, you know what? Didn't matter.
I do sometimes push back on that thought because then they're gonna get the ball. So do you actually? I don't know. I guess you got to trust your defense.
You have a chance to stop them. Yeah, do you trust?
Well, I think the goal is to throw the ball out of bounds in a way that's not grounding or whatever.
Yeah. Now, here is another low light from another game we just talked about, and it comes from a player that we also talked about, although it's not so much on him, I think. It's more on the center, but still a low light.
Henry back in. Bobbled it. Loose. Oh, it's picked up. It's picked up on the play by Pratt. It's picked up by Pratt. Baltimore is fun.
Yeah, I mean, that
they
one
almost
just isn't
that game away, man.
That's just not a consequential one, unfortunately. That's the problem.
But it could have been.
It should have been. It really should have been, but it wasn't at the end of the day.
It wasn't at the end of the day, but in that moment, we didn't know that it wasn't going to be so consequential. But now let's look at another low light. This came from the Vikings game, and this one.
London.
I don't know.
London town.
But let's see.
Fumble. Ty Chandler can't get it. Williams picks it up. Quincy Williams on the spot.
That's pretty tough.
Knocks it right off his head, man. Just bam.
The run game
not how you
Aaron
draw it
Jones already wasn't going to be good. We can't have plays like that.
Yeah. At all. But you know what? It didn't end up mattering because the Jets just don't matter either in those instances. Gentlemen, I know that the lowlights did not have our usual star, Will Levis. And so it doesn't feel as complete of a list as it could be. But still, America deserves to have the winningest loser, the winningest lowlight. And I want to know, what do you guys pick? Because I have my pick. I want to hear y'all's pick.
Vote Bungles.
Bungles. All right.
Yep.
Patrick.
Yeah.
Patrick.
Bungles.
We are in unanimous decision that Bungles kick was bad.
One more time. Play it again.
One more time.
Nope. He missed it. Wide left. And the Ravens run.
fair, that probably should have gone on to the Jordan Love video, but
it could have. But I didn't think about it at that time. But there you go, gentlemen. We have our winners, our losers, our highlights, our lowlights, and now we're going to transition into Fraud Watch. There is nothing here that I could insert to say fraud. But I do want to mention some teams that now that we are quartering
Minnesota.
All right, they are not frauds, not yet.
We're on watch.
I don't consider. Yeah, Minnesota is definitely a good one, a fraud watch candidate, because like this is an upstart group.
It's an unbelievable fight.
And let me tell you why it's not fraud watch. All right, you may want to erase any kind of jinx, but when you have a plus 63 point differential, all right, nice. Your opponents have combined for 76 points in the first 5 games. Is not on fraud watch yet, buddy. But let me tell you who is
watching.
Yeah, so it's just a watch.
I think any undefeated team this far into the year, you got to say, are they frauds or are they just winning games early? I don't know.
Exactly. We could say the same about the Chiefs if you took the 2-time champion shit away from them and just looked at this season.
They were the Chiefs. Because every year you get some team that starts 4-0 doesn't mean anything. They're terrible. They just happen to win the first 4 games.
Listen, we'll get into that. But right now, we're going to talk about who I think is the most obvious fraud based on a couple of factors here, gentlemen. They, as a team, despite having a winning record, have scored 102 total points. Their opponents have scored 114. They have a negative 12-point differential. And let's be real, if you watch their games, they are looking rough and not as explosive as we thought they were going to look. It's the Houston Texans. They are my number 1 team on fraud watch right now. All right, they're the leader of the pack. Something tells me that this is a house of cards waiting to fall for whatever reason. We'll see what that reason is as the season goes on, but they are my number 1 team on fraud watch. Another team, just based on their record, just based on their overall record, they have a winning record. I don't think it's going to last very long. I don't care that they have a plus 23 point differential. I watch this team. I'm like, no, this is not a good team. They should not be in a winning spot right now, and I don't think they will be for very long. But the AFC is martyred with, filled with mediocrity right now. The Denver Broncos are 3-2. They are currently in the 6th seed. In the playoffs. The playoffs started today, which they don't, obviously.
Yeah,
but they are the most obvious case of a bad team with a winning record that should make you a fraud, and which they are. They are fraudulent winners. I don't think anybody actually has real expectations for them. But yeah. Now, another team that I think should be on fraud watch, this just based on, the eye test. I know they've won 2 in a row, but something just doesn't feel right about this team. And I could be wrong. They could turn out to actually swing the other way. They are a 3-2 team, 2-game winning streak. They play in the South, and it is the Atlanta Falcons. All right. Something just doesn't feel right with this team. Now, they do have the benefit of playing the NFC South, so that will mitigate the
MVP run right now.
Listen, he's had a great 2-game run right now. Yes, absolutely. This team is still not great on defense. They have a negative point differential. You don't want to see that at any point in the season, and they have that going on for them right now. And
Skankies win. Oh, fuck. Dodgers beating that ass. All right, there's your update.
There you go.
Sorry.
There you go. Now, one more, my last fraud of the week, and this, listen, they didn't play this past week. They were on a bye, but this is a fraudulent team. They had expectations. They shouldn't have had expectations. They are frauds, and they are going to reveal to the country their true colors, which is that of a bad fucking football team, or
like a weird
at the very best, a mediocre team. And yes, they do wear the color green. It's the fucking Philadelphia Eagles. But I'll talk about that a little bit more. There will be more teams added to Fraud Watch when we get to the halfway point, when we can really truly pin down what these teams really are. But this is just a list of teams to watch to see if they're truly fraudulent or not. Now, with that said, let's recap what happened, gentlemen. Your teams both ended up in the winners column, and we gotta start with the team that played in London, England.
Touchdown, rock 'em, sock 'em, fight, 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 fight. Vikings run up the score. You'll hear us yell for more. V-I-K-I-N-G-S. Go Vikings, let's go. Go.
Rodgers, quick throw, and it's intercepted. Stephon Gilmore gets the Jets again as a Patriot.
Look at Ty Dolla $ign.
Stephon Gilmore with the game-sealing interception, securing that 23-16 win over the New York Jets across the pond. Patrick, you woke up pretty early to watch this game, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean, I wake up early every day just naturally anyways, so, but
he wakes up with the rooster.
It is weird to have football on at 8:30 in the morning.
It's far weirder to see British people in random jerseys.
From what I can tell, it's like people from all over Europe more than just the UK, I think. Because it's like they might get one a year to go to, so they
can go to the Frankfurter game.
Yeah, they got the Frankfurt game now.
Yeah, and there's gonna be more rotating in and out and all that, but it was fun. I don't love the thing of playing in London, especially don't love that it counts as one of my home games.
Well, now that there's 17 games in a season, it really doesn't matter.
But other teams get an extra home game. It would have been cool, and I know there was no chance they're ever going to do this, but if they had, while they were keeping it at 17 games, just done a neutral site game for every team, that would have been fun as hell, but obviously they were never
that might be the path eventually.
They're just going to 18 games. But anyways, it was a fine game. It's the fourth straight week that we've started up, I think 13-0 ahead, like 13-0 or 14-0 or something. So it's kind of hard again. I think I probably said this the last couple of times. It's hard to judge fully what the team is because there's been almost no adversity as far as just like play some prevent defense and just let them get kind of close and then get out of there.
Back-to-back weeks, you have to stave off a comeback. That's kind of adversity.
Sam's kind of looked a little bit more normal the last couple weeks. It's nice that he'll get a week off. We're going to get Hockenson back.
He looks more like the Sam Darnold that we know.
With the bye week, we should get Hockenson back, I think. And then Aaron Jones hopefully is back soon too. Because not having the running game will be a big problem. That'll be the biggest problem going forward is if we can't get Aaron Jones back because the line's not good enough and Chandler's not good enough, and they're definitely not good enough together.
Yeah, and Darnold will probably get a little exposed in that moment.
We need Jones. And then having Hockenson will also change things a lot. They shut Addison down pretty hard too. That was rough to watch. I think it was like 3 receptions on 8 targets or something stupid like that.
No, that's the exact stat line, actually.
He's on my fantasy team.
London town.
I had Sam Darnold and Jordan Addison starting on my fantasy team, and they definitely combined for 11 points, so that was nice. But all I care about is the team win, so it was fun. It was good. The Jets are lame. Hilarious that Rodgers was trying to get a call on that last interception there when Gilmore's the only one looking at. The receiver I don't even know if that receiver knew that ball would possibly come to him. He doesn't turn around once.
Yeah, Gilmore even explained in the post game. I'm pretty sure I saw a clip of him at the locker explaining that he knew the back shoulder fade was Aaron Rodgers' go-to bread and butter.
The receiver didn't know that because the receiver doesn't once turn around.
Yeah, the Jets just make things harder on themselves running the Aaron Rodgers offense, which is just back shoulder fades and read out the defense.
I mean,
and it played right into the Minnesota Vikings' hands.
They've got 2 good skill players in what's his name, Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall.
Yeah, although Breece Hall was shut down.
Yeah, I mean, but you can't survive off 2 good skill players.
Actually, it wasn't Breece Hall who's been good this season. It's actually been Braylon Allen that's been good. Breece Hall's been not.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the issue with their offense is the identity doesn't exist. You have 2 nice-ass running backs,
and
but
that was
they're
a
not
problem.
getting the.
And that was a problem with Rodgers' end of career in Green Bay too. There wasn't really an identity outside of Rodgers just kind of chucking it and effing it down there.
Yeah, and then look at that. They didn't skip a beat once he left, because now they actually have an offensive identity. But yeah, going back onto this game, listen, the Minnesota Vikings, I think their identity is clear. That defense is going to be causing a fuck ton of havoc, and as long as
Madden style defense of just pure, I don't know how to call plays, so just blitz the hell out of them.
Yeah, and you know,
fire on all cylinders.
It reminds me of the old school Philadelphia Eagles that I grew up
safeties.
with Jim Johnson, because he was a blitz happy man, and Brian Flores is a blitz happy man, and I love to see it. And yeah, as long as you guys continue to get these performances from the defense, it will help mitigate whenever
Van Ginkel got another pick 6. I think I sent you that stat earlier that he's had 4 career interceptions and 3 of them have been pick 6s.
Yep. And it's, you know, he just all he does is score touchdowns when he gets the ball.
He has a very linebacker name.
I don't know if y'all watched.
Good that he's good.
I don't know if y'all watched any of the game, but on that last drive, I think I don't remember if it was the play before the interception. I think it was in that series though. Rodgers gets a pass tipped, and he almost catches it himself, but he remembers that will end the game because the clock will run, so he has to just kind of like knock it down. That was pretty funny. I was really, really hoping the game would end with Aaron Rodgers catching his own pass and getting creamed, but
I think humiliation came all less.
Yeah. Now, also,
no matter how it was packaged.
Oh yeah. Not football related, but the Dodgers are beating that ass right now.
They're on the Padres. Or did they just intentionally walk him? I might have missed.
He got walked.
I just have the box score for me.
They didn't intentionally walk him. He got walked.
Yeah. Now, let's talk about the next game. It was Sunday/Monday. This game delayed due to weather. But you know what? It didn't matter because the Cowboys ended on top with this
funny ass weather delay too, right?
Oh yeah.
Because
here we go.
It's a weather delay where it was just pouring rain like crazy. There's lightning. They have to shut it down. And then it really doesn't look that crazy at all during the game. I mean, there were some turnovers, there was some sloppiness, but then it looks like just a normal game. It was just late as shit.
Well, I think what was good was that it wasn't raining all. Like, it was, when I saw from some tweets, it was a really nice day up until before. So it wasn't like it was raining all day. The ground didn't get soaked.
It was just a fucking blast.
It was a top layer of water, but it wasn't soaked soil.
Yeah. And the weather didn't affect this beauty of a sequence for the Cowboys. That man pulled his nutsack on the previous play, had to hop off, and then I don't know.
Nuts is what I think Tyron said, right? Tyler Smith said sprained nuts.
Yeah, some sprained nuts, and that
I'm
man.
I'm just happy that you guys got to see that
I was asleep.
We're not just gassing up young Tolbert. He has grown. He is an NFL player. Dare I say, he's even maybe potentially a weapon down the road.
That would be helpful. You need something that doesn't cost you any money right now.
He's grown. I mean, if you talk about players getting in there, struggling early and then just continue to work, I mean, it's looking like it's paying off. No reason not to see him continue to get more opportunities this season.
Now, Bethany, you might push back on what I'm going to say here, or maybe not. Maybe you're in agreement because this is less to do about the players and this is more to do about the offensive system. Because there's one thing that I noticed under the Mike McCarthy, just nothing was easy for Dak Prescott. So we look at his line, 29-42, 352 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. But one thing that I just noticed with Mike McCarthy's offense, whenever he has full control of the offense, these throws that he asks his quarterbacks to make are not easy. And it's just, we're getting to a point in the NFL, like just landscape where you need to create layups to mitigate some things that, we don't have a proven receiving room. Jalen Tolbert stepped up in this game. He, like you said, he's starting to show signs of being a player. Imagine what it would look like if it was a lot easier in terms of just the routes he was asked to run, or the scheme just allowed for a more free-flowing route tree from his receivers, and for Dak to, pick apart a defense that, they gave up a bunch of yards, didn't give up a bunch of points, but I just think this could be a lot better situation for the Cowboys if they had a little bit more flexible offensive mind. Now, I want to look at the Pittsburgh Steelers. We have now seen, I think this
hold
game...
on. Let me just say one thing on the offense thing here, because I think it's an under talked about story. I think McCarthy is already back. Unless it gets catastrophic, I think McCarthy gets an extension this offseason.
You don't think it's based on January?
Well, yes and no. Because here's where I get you, but here's where I raise you. If things have moved the way they've moved, and Jerry's moved the way Jerry's moved, and Jerry's age is where it is, isn't it more conceivable that McCarthy stays head coach and that they force him to hire an offensive coordinator next season? Because most likely this team will at least be decent. Maybe very likely above 500. It's
going to be a very similar roster, at least, so...
Right,
Yeah.
so potentially it could be. Obviously, you're going to draft, and whatever that is what it is. Guys develop, it is what it is with the Cowboys, so on and so forth. But ultimately, I think that everyone's getting ready to write this chapter into a rebuild or whatever. But I think sneaky, we're really just seeing slightly better Jason Garrett 2.0.
Yeah, I would say that. I mean, at least when it comes to
because I think McCarthy's going to get stripped of OC duties no matter how this season goes. Even if they make the playoffs and win a game, I'm still kind of convinced that they're probably going to call in somebody else.
He might just be ready to go try something else.
I don't think so. I think McCarthy's not a good coach anymore. I don't think McCarthy's got anything left in him after Dallas. I think he's clearly using his resources well. I think he does a good job as a football coach. I don't think anyone else should hire Mike McCarthy if they expect him to turn around, because he struggles at maintaining the stuff that is great for Jerry Jones to keep us in mediocrity. But these other franchises are looking at innovation. They're looking at how do they get an edge, because they're not the Cowboys. They don't have.
I think
the money.
all they see when they look at him is the most wins in the regular season over the last 5-6 years.
I
think
the
second most behind the Chiefs.
I think it would be. I think yes.
Yeah,
there's desperate. It's plenty desperate people out there. I think McCarthy would be. I think it's the same thing as Garrett. I mean, Garrett, he's gonna wring McCarthy dry.
Garrett was,
and then there's gonna be no use.
Garrett was
and
brought up in the family though. McCarthy came in and was like, "Oh,
they love
contract's over. I'm out."
I agree. He could do that, but they love him. He has the cushiest job in the world if you can just stomach getting made fun of all the time.
That or Will McClay's job.
Yeah, I mean, if you can just take the constant berating, then you really, honestly, you get paid super well. You do that stupid ass coaches show. It's super pristine. It's super easy life. And if the expectation is truly not to win Super Bowls and it's just to compete and be competitive and win more games than you lose every year, I'm just saying, I could see. Either way, that was my long story on the offense in Dallas. As Caesar says, it's a little goofy, and it feels a lot like Mike McCarthy just didn't, that PFF just didn't advance his football mind enough.
Not enough, and I think it's going to, or it has cost them in the past, and it's going to cost them in the future.
I will say it's nice for Dak. I think this is a great exercise for Dak Prescott to test his mettle and hopefully utilize it in a better offense in the future.
Hopefully, man. Now, let's talk about the counterpart on the other side, because I do have a little bit of an interest in how the Pittsburgh Steelers do. And I think we've seen what their floor is and what their ceiling is with this current setup. Justin Fields had an up and down game, 2 touchdowns. He did march the Steelers down the field to take the lead, 17-13, I think was the score. So, he left the field with a lead. But you saw something with the Pittsburgh Steelers. You saw that they just do not have enough weapons to keep up with better teams, just all around. It affected the run game, right? Because you can load the box up when you really only have one wide receiver to be scared of. And they kept him in check, George Pickens, right? You're like, that defense was going to run out of gas at some point. They did. Even then, the defense for the Steelers didn't have a great game. They gave up a fuck ton of yards. They managed to keep things in check, at least in the scoreboard department. But there's only so much you can ask of your team when you can't score the ball. Pittsburgh, you need to be on the phone with Vegas. Go get on the phone and see if you can get Devontae Adams in to just make opposing defenses respect the other receiver outside of George Pickens. But with that said, gentlemen, we are done with the recap. So let's go to the watch it, skip it, train wreck. Patrick, hit the music.
Watch it, 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 watch it. Skip it, 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 skip it. Train wreck,
Beautiful.
Who could tell that was the week that I got the delay pedal?
I love it. All right, gentlemen. I only have 2 games for you on this week's docket of Watch It. And you know what? One of them I didn't anticipate it being a Watch It. But I have to recognize that this team is entertaining, even if I don't think that it's real yet.
Might be a little real.
Might be a little real, might not. I don't want to put them on Fraud Watch because I'm going to get embarrassed if I do. I feel like I'm going to reverse jinx it. So instead, I'm going to put them on the Watch It list. It's the Washington Commanders against the Baltimore Ravens in the battle of the, what do they call it? The DMV?
Yeah.
The Delaware, Maryland, Virginia area. Well, guess what? You have 2 of the most exciting quarterbacks in the league right now. The electrifying Jaden Daniels having a great start to his rookie campaign against the well-established 2-time MVP, one of the most electrifying quarterbacks in NFL history, Lamar Jackson. You got a 4-1 record. You have a Washington team that's doing more with less, and then you have the Baltimore Ravens, who are in between a reload and a rebuild because they're missing a lot of guys from last year's team. And you know what? They're on fire right now. They are rattling off 3 wins in a row against quality opponents. They're just coming off a huge win against the Cincinnati Bengals and possibly buried the Cincinnati Bengals. And you know what? They're trying to build on that. They're trying to make sure that I don't look like a fool in picking them. Oh, wait. I didn't pick them. I already look like a fool. I picked the Bengals to win the AFC North. Either way, gentlemen, I think this is going to be a very entertaining game. But the next game could also be very entertaining. And it is Bethke's Dallas Cowboys against the Detroit Lions, a rematch of last year's very electric, semi-controversial game. I actually don't remember too much about that game, so I just remember there was like something to do with the referee or something.
Downfield. It was an illegal lineman downfield bullshit, whiny babiness. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Cowboys did what with it, Lions fans? Suck my dick. I don't want to hear it. I got bigger fish to fry.
And this is the fish to fry. The Detroit Lions, who are trying to establish themselves as one of the better teams in the NFC. You got 2 quarterbacks from the 2016 class who can light up the scoreboard from time to time. And this might be that time. I think this could be a big time points fest in this game. But alas,
big
gentlemen,
time points fest.
I want your opinions, your unbiased opinions on what our fan base, if we have a name for our fan base, we should have a name for our fan base. Once it gets
past the Cockers.
Past the Cockers. What should the Cockers watch this week, guys?
you have to legally watch the Dallas Cowboys if you're an NFL fan. It's a contract you sign with the league, whether you know it or not.
So it sounds like an obligation. So if they weren't obligated to watch them, what's your choice?
I'm taking Commanders or Ravens.
We only know our overlord, Caesar.
Hopefully it makes lives up to the hype. Hopefully Jaden Daniels doesn't have a bad game, because it'd be really cool if he doesn't. So that's probably the two I'd tune into.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the more exciting quarterback matchup. Stylistically.
What's wrong with Goff and Dak?
That's who I was picking. What are you talking about? What? Why were you assuming I was picking Lamar and Jaden Daniels?
He wants to see some masterful checkdowns, my friend.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I want to see what it looks like when you get to your fourth option, and then you're like, all right.
Best 3rd and 8 passer in this game?
Oh, but no, yeah, I do agree with you though. Get Commanders Ravens is going to be my pick. I'm still going to watch both games, but if I could only watch,
you're contractually obligated, so yeah.
Prove it.
Yeah,
exactly. Well, that's you don't. Yeah. Well, go tell Commissioner Goodell.
I don't have to watch it.
Jerry and Goodell, they already.
I listen to sports radio around here. I'm gonna know everything that happened without seeing a second of it.
When you yeah, that's fucking true. No, every time you watch an NFL game, your eyes sign a contract. That's that little fine print that comes up.
Well, I watch it on Stream East. I mean,
it's there too. You know, they think that they're not smart, and they got it on the whole thing.
All right.
That chat on the side, that's all NFL
exactly.
bots.
That's all propaganda.
That are saying all those really racist and
racist and
awful things.
Racist is the nicest of the things that are on there. So
that lets you know where they're at. All right. So there you have it, everybody. So now on this one, I only had one game that I thought, this is a real must skip, because I can't find any. Yeah, skip it. There is just nothing entertaining about what this matchup's going to be. It's the Texans. It's the Patriots. The Patriots, I think they're going to compete for the top 3 overall picks in this year's draft again. I know they just officially benched Jacoby Brissett in favor of Drake May. Here's where I'm going to tell everybody. Drake May is in for a long fucking day. You have a talented defensive line on the Houston Texans. I know
it was a choice.
They haven't been playing exactly the way you thought they'd be playing, but it's still a very talented defensive line. And then you have a bad pass blocking, bad run blocking offensive line. You just have a bad offensive line over in New England. They're giving up, I believe, 50% pressures on all dropbacks. So that means every time Jacoby Brissett went back, dropped back, and passed the ball, 50% of the time, he had defenders in his face ready to fuck up his day. And they have fucked up his day. And possibly his season. He has nobody to throw to, right? There is no exciting weapon on that New England Patriots offense. There's just nothing exciting about this game. Even if it's a close game, it's going to be a slog. And if it's not a slog, it's a blowout. So it's one of those two.
Drake May, hold on for dear life, and land us Travis Hunter. That's what they're telling me.
There you go. Now, that's the only one that I had on the must skip, because I think that's the most egregious matchup. But now, here comes our train wrecks, baby. Now, there's a little bit of bias here, because
Can I pause real quick? I think Chargers Broncos might be one of the most greatest examples of skip it football that exists right now.
Yeah,
and maybe you didn't even think about it because that's how good of a skip it game it is.
No, I looked at it and I was just like,
there's just nothing there.
Herbert.
There's nothing there.
And there's some excitement, maybe.
It's a division game, and I think it's one of the lamest matchups in football.
I also just really want to see the
Broncos aren't playing sexy football. Even if they're winning, they're not doing.
They're not playing sexy football.
Sexy way.
But here's what I want to see from.
I just want to throw that in at least as an honorable mention on the skip it section.
Absolutely. here's the one thing that I would want to see from that matchup, and it is the interaction between John Harbaugh and Sean Payton. Fair. I just think those two worlds colliding would be must-see television.
Could be. You could get a couple good things there.
Absolutely. Now, on the train wreck, there's some bias at play. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I got the Browns and Eagles. Absolute fucking train wreck. You ready? You ready? Look at the camera. Look at me. This is dead ass. All right. I am dead ass when I say this is going to be a train wreck of a game for the Philadelphia Eagles. Why? Because, yes, they have their entire offense healthy. Their defense is healthy. And that doesn't matter because this team is playing about the same level of football that they were playing last season when they went on that historically bad skid to end their year. All right. I have seen bad quarterbacks, teams that I thought, Eagles got this. This is where the skid ends. And we're just going to right the ship and look good. We're going to look like a talented team. I've seen them just fuck up my whole Sunday. And I expect Deshaun Watson to turn back the clock to 2020. All right. Pre-massage parlors.
2020 hindsight.
And he's going to drop 300 on our fucking domes. And if not, Jalen Hurts, fumble god, is going to have 5 fumbles, 2 of which get returned for touchdowns. And Nick Sirianni is going to say something fucking stupid in that press conference. And Howie Roseman is going to just skate on by like he didn't just fuck up the offseason with his moves. And we're going to do this all over again the week after that. And that's why this is going to be my personal train wreck of the week, unless the Eagles put up a 77-0 burger a la Bethke's predictions for the Cowboys every week. But if they don't do that...
I'm thinking you're severely underestimating how bad this Browns team is.
You don't know these Eagles like I know these Eagles.
The Browns' only win was against
you don't know this team, Patrick.
Worse Jacksonville
Stop
team.
Trying to use logic.
Yeah, dude, he's got the Ku Klux Klan or something that they're hyping up now.
Yeah, the Ku Klux Klans.
I mean, that's what y'all are the ones talking about. What are they calling
That's not a y'all thing. That's not a y'all.
It's a guy, one guy on Twitter.
No, I've been seeing this for a while now. Someone already said it about Denver. People are way too excited about white dudes playing cornerback again a little bit. We've passed the point of it being
gone through a few
funny.
cycles on the internet, and now we're mixing PC and Call of Duty lobbies and
yeah, exactly. We've gone too far.
Speaking of Call of Duty, Kyler Murray is going to be in
Call
of Duty. The meme finally became a reality for him. All right. But yeah, no, I know this Browns team is bad. I also know how bad the teams were last year that the Eagles lost to.
Amari Cooper does love fucking the Eagles up.
He sure does. And
he's trying to get the fuck out of there too. So he's like Kansas City, you don't want those draft picks.
Right? But anyway, besides the potential for train wreck from the Eagles just giving another lap down to the fucking Cleveland Browns, we have a potential. These two guys are questionable to play the game, but if they do play the game, I do believe a turnover, train wreck worthy fiesta is in play with the Indianapolis Colts traveling to the Tennessee Titans. It is a Will Levis, Anthony Richardson potential matchup, and y'all, these guys have been incredible in terms of the absolute just boneheaded plays that they have produced this season, Will Levis especially, and I hope they do it again. It is the train wreck game of the week, if I am to remove my own bias, pessimism from it.
Yeah, I'm going Colts Titans all the way here for sure.
Just a little small update. Richardson did practice a little bit today, so he's still questionable.
Unlikely. I feel like even Flacco has the potential to still do something funny for me, so I'm cool with it.
He still has the potential to put like a 400.
Basically, do we get Levis? Because my dream is that Flacco Richardson is driving to seal the game, and they throw the pick that lets the Titans in it. All Will Levis has to do, get a first down, kick a field goal, let's win this thing. And that's when he pulls out another addition to the Will Levis highlight reel and delivers another gem for the folks at home.
We could only be so lucky if that's what happens.
Yeah, and I could see Colts and Titans potentially being a train wreck. I would like to nominate Jaguars and Bears in London, because all of that just sounds awful.
Yeah, but
Williams could do well, but he's still so young that he's very capable of a train wreck game. Still,
good chance that Jacksonville gets right
in London, and I think Jacksonville plays well in London usually, but
that is their home stadium.
Yeah, but I think I was just gonna say that could also be a train wreck. Otherwise,
could also.
I don't know if there's a bona fide train wreck this week outside of the team that doesn't get to be talked about.
There you go. Well, gentlemen, let's now move to the final part of this week's show.
How did we not do Bills Jets as a possible train wreck too? I guess because we think the Bills are good, but
Jeff Ulbrich.
Maybe like it could be, but at the same time, at the same time, I don't think it's going to be a competitive game for the Jets. I think a lot of them are going to be checked out. But who knows? It could still be
the interim.
Jeff Ulbrich.
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
But yeah, let's continue on with previewing
our
teams this week.
A football guy. Sorry, I've never seen this guy before in my life.
Dude, you don't remember Jeff Ulbrich playing back in the Dizzy? That's old ugly 49ers.
Yeah, I didn't follow post Jerry Rice 49ers much.
Oh, dude, yeah. That Jeff Ulbrich was one of the only things good happening in San Francisco for a minute there.
I didn't know why I knew the name, but I guess that's why.
Yeah, that team was fucking dog shit, but he was out there fucking trying to make Ken Dorsey work.
Yeah, look, he has aged so much. All right.
Well,
I know
it has been a long time since like 2004 or 5.
And you also had to back up Patrick Willis, so that's just not fair.
I think that was when he was older.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Oh, he entered the league in 2000. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Anyway, let's preview the teams that are playing this week, shall we? We're just gonna go in chronological order of when their games kick off. So, yeah, the Vikings, they win the bye week because it's their bye week and they don't have to do anything really.
Rest up.
Rest up, baby. Rest up. So, Browns at Eagles is the 12 o'clock game. And then I believe Cowboys are the Fox America's game of the week. So that they're the 3:25 slot Central Time.
Confusingly, though,
contractually obligated.
So is Falcons Panthers.
Is every 3:25 game just America's game of the week?
Exactly.
Well, I don't know. There's two 3:25. It used to be just one 3:25 game, and all the others were at 3:05. But now we got two 3:05 and two 3:25.
Weird. All right. No, anyway, let's go into the previews of this game. All right. So the Philadelphia Eagles have AJ Brown back, Devontae Smith back, Lane Johnson back. They're full participants in practice. They just cut Devin White, who, funnily enough, has not played all season, but had every first team rep in training camp. Weird, right? Just a weird fucking organization doing weird shit on defense with their personnel like they usually do. Anyway, they're going up against one of the worst offenses you have ever seen in your entire life because Deshaun Watson is the worst quarterback to have on your team right now, bar none. And that's an impressive thing to say. For all the wrong reasons, obviously. Now,
I don't know. Would you rather have Tim Boyle on your team?
No. I'm talking about starter, like a guy who is going to be the starting quarterback.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. But yes, Tim Boyle probably would be the worst just person that throws a football. Him and Nate Peterman. But anyway,
Nathan Peterman.
Now on this game right now, the thing that the Cleveland Browns can maybe hang their head on is that Jim Schwartz, he wants to get one back at the Philadelphia Eagles organization for, making him the fall guy at the end of the Doug Peterson era. And then Doug Peterson became the fall guy days later. But here's what's up. This Cleveland Brown team looks like it is ready to give up, which, 5 games into the season, not a great look. But when your head coach goes on to say, hey, I'm the one who chooses the starting quarterback. We all know that's not true. We all know that you are not responsible for Deshaun Watson being the starting quarterback, because if it was your decision, any sane head coach would have put Jameis Winston in there a long time ago, and then maybe, just maybe, you have a actual mediocre offense and not a dumpster fire shit stain of an offense that you have with Deshaun Watson.
Can't have no shit stains.
Can't have no shit stains. But you know what? What happens when a stoppable force meets a very movable object? That is the question at play here when you have the Philadelphia Eagles defense that's been bad all year, hasn't had any teeth all season except for one game, and that's when the pumpkin that is Derek Carr decided to show his true colors once more came out. So I should have the Eagles winning this game. The Eagles absolutely should win this game. Do I think they will? Do I think they'll make me proud and make me not hate my Sunday morning / noon? No. Mark me down as having the Eagles officially winning the game. We're going to call it 18-14. But my PTR picks may not reflect that. It's the emotional hedge. Lions and Cowboys now. These.
Wait. My official prediction.
Oh, yes, please.
Less thinking equals talent takeover.
That hurts every time. Every fucking time. Oh.
Look, I don't know who the coach was for Andy Reid. Was it like Dick Vermeil or something?
No, it was.
No, it's been a minute.
You've never had to
No,
deal.
it's some guy named Rhodes.
You never had to deal with Brad Childress or Mike Tice.
That's not
or
true.
Leslie Frazier.
Also not true. They were not our head coach, but they were on our staff.
Yeah, I mean, as head coaches, be grateful for what you had.
Honestly, like, no, I'm not grateful for Nick Sirianni because I don't think he's actually responsible for any of this.
Nah, he's middle of the road, but I don't think he's a wholly bad coach. Just maybe not a good or a great one.
We'll see, because it's looking to me like this team is going to give up on him sooner rather than later.
Oh, they easily could. I'm just saying. I saw Brad Childress.
Yeah, me too. He was the offensive coordinator for the Eagles. In name only, really.
Biology teacher.
Yeah, Ray Rhodes. That was the coach before Andy Reid. Anyway. Yeah. Becky, your prediction for this game.
Yeah, there's going to be less thinking and talent's going to take over. And what that means, Eagles win.
Eagles win. And then I'm just going to assume, Patrick, you have the Eagles winning as well.
Yeah.
All right.
I think they'll cover the 8.5 points too.
Oh man, I need to look up to see what the Eagles' record is against the spread.
1 second.
Anyway, thank you. While you do that, let's talk about the Dallas Cowboys for SEO purposes, and because they do have the later game of the two.
Dallas Cowboys.
They are 2-1 against the spread, which doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
All in my ass.
All in.
Unless they just
Skip
had some
Bayless.
push games. Sorry.
Maybe they did. All in Skip Bayless's ass is the Dallas Cowboys hosting the Detroit Lions. This one should be
Detroit.
Lions.
I don't have my thing hooked up, but I have a great video of Victor Wembanyama before the NBA lottery where they're like, I could go to San Antonio, Detroit.
That's great. Oh man. Now let's look at this matchup, shall we? So you do have the Detroit Lions 3-1, coming off an exciting Monday Night Football win, and then against the Dallas Cowboys, who just had a thriller of a game in Pittsburgh.
They're back. I mean, Super Bowl win.
Yep. Now here is the issue that I'm going to have with this game. I'm going to miss a big part of it because I'm going to a friend's play. So you're gonna have to. Somebody's gonna have to catch me up on what happens.
Well, unfortunately, it's such an undercovered team, both nationally and locally, that I don't know if that's going to be easy enough.
right? But I'm gonna need to see the tape, which I have a hard time finding sometimes. Anyway, on this game though, you're going to have an explosive Detroit Lions offense, right? Now they're not throwing it deep in the air like they have been in previous seasons, and not necessarily like also crushing it on the ground either. But somehow they're 3-1. They have a great point differential. I believe, or not super great. I believe it is 22-point positive. Yes, that is. That's why. And you know what? Jameson Williams has been a revelation for the Detroit Lions early in the year, along with Amon St. Brown. And then you have the Dallas Cowboys. They're hurting on defense. It didn't really matter against the against the Pittsburgh Steelers last week, who don't have a necessarily great team on offense. So you can kind of get away with that. Now, here's the thing. Michael Parsons is rested questionable. I don't think he's been ruled out yet. The only ones that have been ruled out for this game are like DeMarcus Lawrence, and I forget who else has been marked out for this game.
Honestly, I didn't even check back with Tyler Guyton, but honestly, wouldn't be that upset if the kid just like relaxed for a second.
Yeah,
day to day. So yeah, you could be dealing with offensive line change, but the funny part is you could argue that this is an offensive line change that helps the Cowboys more in the interim than it does in the long term, I guess, because obviously Guyton's still a nice prospect, but there is some logic that Tyler Smith getting put out to left tackle, TJ Bass playing guard is a much more NFL ready now offensive line than Guyton, who, while being a fantastic physical specimen and having his moments, seems to be a bit of a flag magnet.
Yeah, well, right now, I don't believe that Guyton's going to miss any time. I mean, he wasn't even listed on the injury report or anything, so I don't think they're going to rest the kid.
We'll see.
So we'll see what happens with that. But Micah Parsons listed as questionable. He is expected to return by the game, even though he did not participate in practice this week. And I don't think Eric Kendricks participated either. He was listed DNP on practice, so they may still be without two of their top linebackers on this game. And then Marquise Bell, Nick Vigil, both listed as questionable. And that's it for that on their report. The Detroit Lions, I think that's a team that's relatively healthy. They're not really missing anybody that they didn't expect to already miss. So there is that. So we'll see what gives on this one. This game, I do see it being a high-scoring affair. I still don't necessarily believe in the Detroit Lions' defense. So until they can prove that they have significantly improved, this might be a points fest, like I said. I give me the Detroit Lions winning this game 31-28. I think they went in on last-minute field goal. And yeah, that's all I got on this one. Bethke, I know that you're going to say 77-0 Dallas Cowboys, but is there anything you're expecting on the route to that 77-0 blowout?
Yeah, I think that we're going to see the first time a fullback gets multiple touchdowns in a game since Mike Alstott. I don't know if that's the truth, but I feel like it's got to be Mike. I feel like it's got. Well, no, Juszczyk. Juszczyk scores a lot of touchdowns over in San Francisco.
Yeah, I would say Juszczyk or Picard and
Hunter Lemke is going to go for 3 touchdowns this week.
Oh, I will do some research for you this week because that's probably going to take a while. Caesar, the Eagles are 2-2 against the spread. I went and looked at them all.
Oh, would you look at that? And the record is 2-2. So
yeah,
there's a 50-50 shot they lose this
They've
game.
been favored in every game, and then they either win it and cover or they lose.
Nice.
Lovely. All right. Well, we got that then. Patrick, how do you see this game going? I know this is a game that you might have your eye on since the Detroit Lions are trying to keep pace with your undefeated juggernaut of a team, the Minnesota Vikings. They're going to go 17-0.
I was definitely expecting the Lions to have a bit of a swing back season, but I don't know how far back. So this is a tough one. I think both of these teams are kind of similar and in similar spots. I think the Cowboys cover the 3.5. I don't know who actually wins the game though. I think the Cowboys are going to win this one.
Cowboys win.
That's how I'm feeling.
The Dakota Prescott boys.
Cowboys win, and it's going to be all
in my ass.
Hey, Skip Bayless. He had a great last weekend of football. Can he repeat it this weekend?
We'll see what happens on that one.
All
right, well, gentlemen.
DFW sports station that he was the first voice on just won the National Radio Station of the Year, not even in the sports category. So doing better without you, Skip.
Setting records.
As all networks will be doing better without Skip Bayless. Now, gentlemen, that's it. That's all I got for you this week. Tune in for next week when I am on the verge of insanity because the Eagles blew it against the Browns, probably, maybe.
Jameis Winston beats the Eagles. Let's go.
Skull Vikings. Don't forget to watch some hockey, and basketball will be here before you know it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you guys. Talk to y'all later.
We'll see you next week. Woo! All right.
I guess we're gonna wait.
Just hit the button.
Okay.
Hit the button.
No.
Wait. What happened?
I got rid of the video.
How dare you? I did that on purpose.
I didn't need Chucky the second time.
I did.
I don't need
that
it
was
on
hater
both.
energy.
I don't want it on both. I'm trying to spread the love.
No. I think that
I was bad.
The correct issue that's going to happen for you. Football karma is now going to be served to the Minnesota Vikings. I'm sad for your football team. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The worst time for it to happen.
You have another sex boat 2.0.
Yeah, you're about to lose your quarterback to mono.
Too many people running.
Or to the Diddy party. He was in New York during the time.
Dude, he's gonna actually find fucking Mike Tice, and they're gonna go out on a boat, and you're gonna have to relive
Fred
that.
Smoot. Is he still alive?
Was Darren Sharper on that team yet?
Yes, he
or was he
was.
still a Packer at that point?
No, he was on that team.
I think he was a Packer at that point.
Darren Sharper's still a bad person, but
no, all-time bad person. But I think he was a Packer before the boat
list.
situation. But
Here is the list according to Wikipedia.
Oh God.
Dante Culpepper, Fred Smoot, Weldon Moore, Pat Williams, Bryant McKinney, Nate Burleson, Nickelodeon's own, Ralph Brown, Jermaine Wiggins, Troy Williamson, Travis Taylor, Kevin Williams, Lance Johnstone, Mo Williams, and Willie Olford.
Yeah, that's basically the whole team.
I thought Troy Williamson was right after the sex boat scandal. Or love boat, whatever the fuck it was.
All right.
This is funny. Troy Williamson's Wikipedia page says he's widely considered to be the biggest bust in Vikings history, with close consideration for the trade for Herschel Walker. All right, that's what I needed to read today.
Hell yeah, buddy.
Yeah, you guys should be good.
All
right. I'll talk to y'all later.
Now it's
Not.